Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Can we talk with Monique? I am Monique. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everybody out there is doing well. This podcast and this particular upload is the Narcissistic Girlfriends Part 2. I did a Part 1 that was rather lengthy. And for those of you guys who stayed to the end, thank you so much. It was a lot of information, but I wanted to give you and show you receipts and show you my experiences of realizing years and years later what I had been dealing with. A lot of us who have endured and successfully come out of toxic relationships or relationships with narcissists or sociopath, we don't realize this stuff sometimes until later on down the road. We know something is not quite right, but we don't know the terminology. We think this is just the way those individuals are. Sorry about that. And once certain series of events occur, we end up finding out, and that's what happened to me. So that Part 1 just took you through some things that occurred in my life, but I also showed you some receipts. But this is Part 2, because a lot of us end up finding out that we're surrounded by these individuals, right? Because we didn't have boundaries, we didn't have that self-love and confidence in ourselves. So we were just surrounded by a lot of these individuals, agents / entities. And I'll get into why I call them these, a lot of these narcissist agents, entities, that type of thing. So let's talk about, there's 2 more experiences I have with narcissistic girlfriends, and I'll share those with you. And again, I did not find out or even put, the term with what was going on until I had an unfortunate series of events. And then I was like, wait a minute, something's not right. Okay, so this particular girlfriend that I had, or acquaintance, or, situationship, because again, these are not true relationships, guys. They're just not. So this particular young lady I met about, I would say, about 8-9 years ago. We met at work. And I'm just here to tell you, narcissists are everywhere. They are professionals, they're presidents, they're CEOs of companies, they're nurses and doctors and such. Doesn't matter. They're of all races, sexes, and, they're everywhere. So this young lady I met on my job, as you guys know, I'm a nurse, and I met her. We hit it off because we were from up north, and, we kind of hit it off, and we talked, we had kids, blah, blah, blah. And over the years, I thought, solidified a relationship. But one of the things, looking back now, I realized, number one, it was always like she was calling me with her issues. It was almost like a dump. So she would call me, and that was one of the resounding themes for a lot of the friendships or the situationships. They would always call me with their issues and drama. Never really to see how I was doing, but let me just tell you. So she would always call me, oh, this is going on, that's going on. And I would be, like the therapist and the friend that I thought I was being. Well, you know what? I support you. That's not right. She would always give me this one-sided view. And it was typically about her husband not supporting her. Now, let me just preface this. This young lady grew up with a really tough childhood, lots of abuse and that type of situation. So I was very empathetic. She told me all of these things that had happened to her. Ding, 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 ding. When people start telling you all of this stuff, right? So they try to get you reeled in emotionally. Now, did this stuff happen? I do believe that it happened, but it shaped the person that she became. So she told me all of these things about her childhood abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, all of these different things. And I empathized with her immediately, and that helped me to form a closer bond with her, so I thought. But over the years, she would complain about her husband, her kids, this and that. And, I was always on her side, like, no, they shouldn't do that. You're such a hard worker. They don't respect you, on and on and on. And it was always like a dump. It was always like, you girl, let me tell you what's going on. And that was usually the typical case for mostly all of the girlfriends that I had. It was always like they were dumping on me, right? They would call, get my energy, zap my energy, get my, good energy, and then go about their business. So I started waking up probably 2.5 years ago. And so she ended up calling me one day. I'll never forget. I was coming from getting something to eat, and I had gone and talked to, at this time I was going to this particular place of worship, and I was talking to one of the leaders of the place, and he was telling me, you have to have boundaries. These people are going to always come around. He did give me some really good advice. You have to set up boundaries. And he was like, you set these boundaries up, you have to have boundaries with people, healthy boundaries. He was like, you didn't learn these things when you grew up. So she called me right after while I was in the session. And when I got out the session, she started telling me all of this stuff. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I started, putting up the boundaries. And I was like, I'm just coming out of such and such. I told her, look, I don't know what she was complaining about her husband, her kids, all of these issues, drama. She wanted to divorce her husband. And I said, look, the bottom line is this. I can't help you. You have to help yourself. You have to dig within yourself, all the things that has happened to you, and you have to find a way to come out on top. But clearly, I can't help you. I told her, go to God, pray, do whatever you need to do, but I can't help you. I started putting up the boundaries. When you do that, guys, they really don't like it. Mind you, I've listened to this person for years on end, complain. Now, fast forward to a year before. A year before this, she told me she broke her hand, right? She said she broke her hand. And I was like, oh my God, we lived in the same state, but in different, counties. She was like, yeah, I broke my hand. I was working out, lifting weights, and I broke my hand. The story sounded feasible to me. Wow, I wouldn't think she was not telling the truth. Hey. She called me back the next day. These girls, my daughters, they won't even help me. My daughter basically told me I did it to myself, and I was like, huh? She was like, all the stuff I do for them, they won't help me. And I was like, oh my God, that's so disrespectful. They should be helping you. So I had a lady that cleaned my house, and I paid for this lady I paid the lady who cleaned my house to go and help her clean her house, because her hand was broken, her dominant hand. And the lady went and cleaned her house. The lady had something to say about it, but I won't even go there because that's not appropriate. However, I paid the lady to clean her house because she told me her daughters would not help her. She said her husband did, I think, help her a little bit, but at the same time, they were going through a divorce, blah, blah, blah. And I was just livid. I was like, these kids are just horrible, disrespectful, ungrateful. This is based on what she's telling me. Somewhere down the road, I think it kind of slipped out. She was saying something that her daughters kept saying they didn't help her because she did it to herself, and they were not going to help her for something she did. And I couldn't understand. I was like, well, what is she talking about? So down the road, maybe some months later, you know what she told me? She said, well, and I can't remember how she came out and told me, but I was like, what? She basically told me that what she told me wasn't true. She did not break her hand lifting weights. She broke her hand. She was upset with her husband, and she balled up her fist and tried to punch him in his face and hit him on the jaw, I guess the hard part of his jaw, and it cracked her hand. It fractured her hand. Yep. So that was the reason why her daughters was like, we're not helping you because you did this to yourself. And I was like, oh my God, wait a minute. You lied to me. In my mind, I'm saying, you lied to me. Had I known this, I would have never paid for this woman to clean your house. But she did not come out and tell me the truth right away. And after that, I just looked at her. I was like, did he hit you or something? She was like, no. I said, you know what? You better count yourself lucky. I said, because we're always talking about men with domestic violence hitting on women, but there are women who abuse men. And she was one of these type of women. Okay. Professional and all. And I was like, this man is a big guy. He could have killed you. He could have called the cops and locked you up and put you in jail. But she obviously knew he wouldn't do that. So after that, I looked at her kind of side eye. Okay, of course. So fast forward to me coming out of the session and setting up those boundaries. I started setting up boundaries because I was like, no, you need to go ahead on and figure out a way. She was like, oh, I'm going to divorce him. And, you know, he's busy working and he doesn't seem like he's all the bit, concerned. No, he's not. He wasn't concerned because he wanted you gone. He probably knew that you was a narcissist, threw himself into the work. And I think she threatened, to divorce him. She did. It didn't change anything. He didn't ask her, from what I know, to come back. And she was getting ready to move back up north. And he threw himself into his work. And he probably was like, I hope she does go. So after I told her, look, they know when you're starting to kind of separate from them. I basically told her, you need to go to therapy, look into yourself, all of your childhood issues that you had with, abuse and, all of these different sexual abuse, physical abuse. You need to get some help. I can't help you. And that basically, I was sounding an alarm like, look, my boundaries are up. You're not dumping on me no more. I don't want to hear any of this. You need to go and get some help. So after that, I didn't hear from her for a long time. And I called her like maybe 4 or 5 times on my phone and it would go straight to voicemail. And my gut told me, and I was really diplomatic and nice about it. I was like, look, you've been through so much. You need to get help. You're spinning your wheels. Every time you call me, it's always something. Enough is enough. You need to love yourself and go get some help and try to move through this. I said, since I've known you, you've been trying to do this thing with your mother and it keeps turning out the same way, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. But I didn't hear from her for about 2 months after that. So she knew that I was no longer going to be her source of supply. But I called her anyway, just to see how she was doing. And the phone would go straight to voicemail. I deep down inside knew this young lady had blocked me. So I asked my son, I said, let me use your cell phone, please. I called using my son's cell phone. She picked up the phone immediately on the first ring. And I was like, hey, how you doing? You could hear in the background she was lost for words, didn't know what to say, stumbling. Oh my God. Oh, I said, this is me. How you doing? I said, matter of fact, let me just say this to you. I called you from my other number and obviously you've blocked my number for whatever reason. And that's perfectly okay. I said, but I was just calling to see how you was doing. That was all. I've done nothing to you. And I just was calling to check to see how you was doing. That was clear. That was basically it. I told her, you have a good day. And that was the last time I ever spoke to her. Mm-hmm. So these individuals, when they know they can't have you as a source of supply, all those years she dumped, and who knows what her thought process was in the end. I don't know. But one of the things that really showed me who she was, not only was a liar, but an abuser and just horrible, was the fact that she lied and said she broke her hand working out and ended up down the road slipping and telling me no, she hauled off and hit her. I think it was like out of anger and rage, she ended up telling me this. She also had a situation where her own daughter ended up really mentally, these people can really mentally weigh on you. And her daughter was very, very smart and ended up, I guess, wanting to hurt herself and ended up in a mental place where they have to evaluate you. And one of the things she told the therapist was that her mom was very abusive, and verbally and sometimes have physically abused her. Now, she was highly upset. She was like, you see this girl? She told him that. But it was true, because a lot of the abuse that had gone on, it was verbal. You know, she said her daughter told them that her mom called her all type of B's and hoes and all type of defamatory things. And I had to believe it, because I never heard her do that. But just the fact of what she did with her own husband. And I remember one day I was talking to her. She was like I don't know what ticked her off, like her mask slipped. And she was talking about, yeah, I fight a B. I fight anybody. I was like, huh? It was just so out of character, but her mask had slipped. She was like, I used to fight bees back in the day. I could beat somebody's ASS. I beat her ASS. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, who are you talking about? And I remember also she had this best friend that was also a nurse. These are nurses now. I'm not even going to make it up. She had a best friend, but then I remember her. I was like, how's your friend so-and-so? I don't even talk to her. She don't say too much to me. She may like something of mine on Facebook, but she don't really even talk to me no more. I don't even talk to her. I think the girlfriend ended up realizing that this young woman was toxic for her and a narcissist, and left her alone as well. Because people realize, on the internet what's going on. But yes, this woman was violent. She was an abuser. She obviously abused her husband, because anybody that haul off and hit their husband in the mouth and he didn't knock you out, I don't condone abuse, but come on now. And he didn't call the cops on you. She had this. This wasn't the first time she did it. So that was one particular acquaintance, and I haven't heard from her since. What she's doing, I don't know, but she has some deep-seated issues. One other young lady I met probably about 5 years ago. That's when I was heading up to New York to see a relative who was really sick and had the brain aneurysm, and I met her in the airport. So we hit it off. We exchanged numbers. We talked. We both were from New York, and she was living here, but she was on getting on a plane for her job. And we started talking. We lived in the same town, and we started going out, to eat and doing certain things. But one particular time, because the red flags are there, guys, we just ignore them. I was supposed to meet her somewhere, but I couldn't because of an issue that I was having. When I say this woman went off on me and talked to me like I was a little kid, this is my time and you need to respect my time, and I don't think you respect she just talked down to me, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? I apologize. Had something to do. Well, you could have called me and told me, and da-da-da-da. She went on and on and on and on. I did not recognize that as, the control, the manipulation. They want things their way, and if you don't do things their way, the narcissist will go off. But just how she kind of belittled me because I couldn't make it at the time, and I couldn't be where she wanted me to be. Even though we did make arrangements to meet somewhere, to go somewhere, but I couldn't. So I didn't think anything of it. I apologized. I said, look, I'm sorry. You find yourself with these individuals, you're always apologizing to them. So fast forward to last year, I had my health crisis. I was going, she moved from the state we were in. She moved to another state, to Florida, and I was going down to Florida on vacation. And she came to visit us at our hotel. I sat and I spoke to her, but then she started going on and talking about her mom. And she was like, her mom was this, her mom was that. They always have these stories, and my boundaries went up. My antennas went up. I said, look, if you're not happy with the way your mom is treating you, you've told me these things before, you need to address your mother and confront her with this situation and talk to her and tell her you don't like it. She stopped me abruptly in the conversation and all but told me, that's my mother. I'm just telling you this. I'm saying this about her, but I don't want anybody else saying anything about her. I don't want anybody else criticizing her, and I don't want you saying anything about it. I'm just basically telling you this information for you to listen to me. So translate in the narc speak. I'm telling you this. You need to listen to me. I'm going to dump on you. You don't need to say anything to me about it. I'm just going to tell you, and I'm the only person that can criticize my mother. I'm the only person that can say anything about her, but I'm still going to tell you this information. What's the point in having a conversation if you're not going to be able to go back and forth and give, healthy back and forth or dialogue, right? What's the point in that? You see? So you see these two ladies right here in the picture. They're sitting here talking about this lady, and she doesn't even know. She's in black and white in a whole nother dimension. And here they are in color sitting there talking about her, but she don't even know. So, anyway, so she tells me basically, and I'm like, did she just say that? She did. She was like, no, I can only say anything about my mother. I'm just telling you this, but you don't need to say anything about it. I said, so are you telling me? And I had to reiterate. I said, so basically you're telling me you can only say something about your mom. You just want to tell me and dump this information on me. I shouldn't say anything or have an opinion about it either way, even though you keep talking about it, but I should just sit here and listen to you, but don't have a comment. She said, yeah. I said, okay. I took a mental note, guys. We got to listen to these people when they say this stuff to you. So after that, I was like, okay. I texted her. She left. We hugged each other. There was no argument or anything. We finished talking. We went and ate, chopped it up. She left, hugged her, bye. Smooches, see you later. That night I texted her and I said, okay, if this is a friend, because my behavior started to change. I had boundaries now. I had self-respect. I had those things that I didn't have before. And I wasn't going to keep calling people. If you're my friend, you can call me and reach out. So I said to myself, I'm not going to call her when I get back home. If she wants to talk to me, I did text her, told her, get home safe. Thank you so much for coming to visit. How about I didn't hear from her for over 6 months? And I didn't bother to call her. I get a text message saying, and I didn't bring those receipts, guys. Oh, man. I'm moving back to where you live. Just wanted to let you know. Boo, I haven't heard from you in 6 months, but you letting me know that you're moving back. See, the source of supply. Wherever she was at in Florida, obviously she needed to move. Whatever sources of supply, I didn't even never respond. I did not even respond. The next text message was, did you get the last text message that I sent you to let you know that I was moving back there? Blah, blah, blah. I did respond this time. I said, yep, I got it. I said, that's really nice. Glad that you're moving. So then she texted me back and said something to the effect of, I got to do better. I've not been a good friend. This is what she texted me now. You got to believe people when they tell you. She said, what'd she say? I have to do better. I've not been a good friend. I'm not always good to my friends, and I have to do better. She basically was saying to me, I'm not a good friend to you. I'm not a good friend to anybody, and I need to do better. But also, she needed to capture her source of supply back here where she was moving back to. I told my sons, I said, yeah, I know what that's all about. She's moving. She needs a source of supply. She probably wants some help or somebody that she can talk to at that particular time, but it's not going to be me. So then, little do I know, she had my number, because when I was in the hospital, she did come and see me. She was one of the first ones to come and see you. They do have these somewhat quote unquote altruistic appearing narcissists that will act as if they're your friend or help you, but it's to your detriment. It's always something that they want in return. So she had my son's number from when I was in the hospital, and my son texted people to let them know that I was okay, out of surgery, whatever. So fast forward to maybe about a month ago. Are you okay? How are you doing? I didn't even respond because I'm like, I'm not gonna, no. She was like, then about a week later, are you okay? And I said, you know what, let me respond to this young woman. I don't need her, whatever. I told her, I'm perfectly fine. I'm great. How are you? No response. No response. Chirps, just crickets chirping. No response. I told her, I said, I'm great. How are you? You would think the dialogue back would be, oh, I'm glad you're doing okay. Just come to check on you. And then she texted me back some weeks later saying, did you get the first text that way I let you know I was moving back there? I said, yeah, that's great. And that was it. I did. And I was like, that's great. No more response from her. Because she's like, well, why is she not, why is she not, getting a little deeper, or why she only responded just very curtly? Do you know what this woman did? My son just told me this last week, and I might see if I can get the text message from him. He told me, Mom, do you know such and such text me? I said, did they? He said, yeah. I said, well, what did she say? Oh, this is your mother's friend, texting to see how your mother is doing. But I had already told my son what happened. So he said he didn't respond. But I said, well, what did you say? He said, I didn't even respond to her. You see how they do? They try to elicit flying monkeys to anybody that they can do to get it. Now, why are you texting my son? For what purpose? This is the type of thing that these narcissists do. That's why you have to be very careful. Their motives and their intentions are not pure. If you were texting me to see how I was doing, why? And I already told you I was fine. Why are you texting my son? For what purposes? They always want to try to put something in people's ear, always want to try to incite some confusion. And half the time, you don't even know what's going on. You see these two ones, they're pulling on her here and just being bullies. This is what a lot of them are. But see this one here, they're concocting something here. She's over here. She don't know what's going on. But a lot of us as empaths, we feel and we sense what's going on. And guys, when these people tell you who they are, just believe them. Don't doubt yourself and, go into other things. Just believe who they are. Some of them are devilish. These are entities that will, look at this picture, that will come and devour you. Okay? They will come and devour you. Okay? So friendships are things that, basically, it should be, like I told you in my part 1, where it's reciprocated. It should be reciprocated. But there was no reciprocity in either of these instances. One will call and dump on me for years, lies to me and tells me she breaks her hand because she was working out, when really she abused her husband and hit her. And if she did it before, she did it before. This is not the first time. And even from some of her rants. Oh, sometimes I would think that she was, just being triggered because of her past. And we kind of overlook some behavior because they say, oh, I've had a hard childhood. I was abused as a child. I was hit physically, sexually abused. So we give them passes for that. But we should not condone their behavior. And she clearly knew that I was putting up boundaries. And she didn't want any more to do with me because she knew I was putting up boundaries. And it wasn't never a friendship. Okay. And then this other young lady who, told me basically, look, heifer, listen to what I got to say. Don't judge my mother. Don't say anything about her. I'm the only one who can say anything. I'm just going to continue to dump on you and tell you what I want you to know. And then, And then didn't call me for 6 months. I said, okay, let me see how long this. If you care about someone and you truly their friend, but you going to text me and tell me you moving back. Seriously? I don't think so. And then tell me I've not been a good friend. I need to do better. I'm just not a good friend. Well, guess what? Go find somebody else to be not a good friend to. I listen to what they say. Listen to what they say. They will tell you. And when I look back at her history, she didn't have good friendships. I was like, well, who's your best friend? She had none. Really, she had none. She wasn't married, not to mean anything. She didn't have any children. But she did not have cohesive relationships. And the boyfriends that she claimed that she had, there was always something wrong with them. Always an issue with them. So these are when you're talking about friendships and girlfriends and things of that nature, it should be reciprocal. Y'all should be on the same wavelength. These two are gazing at each other's eyes. They're on the same wavelength. They're supporting each other. And this was the friendship graph that I showed you in part 1. A high friendship health should be positive. Lots of trust, equal power, dynamic, equal priority, supportive, genuinely rooting for each other. This is ideal. This is healthy and it's enjoyable. But when you're down here with these low level frequency type of entities and agents, low friendship health, they're negative. They have disdain. They're generally toxic. They're lopsided. There's a power dynamic. They secretly are rooting against you. And they're more than an enemy than a friend. This is not healthy. It's not enjoyable. It's problematic. It will stress you out and you need to get rid of them. On this side, low friendship enjoyability is awkward, it's forced, it's fake, it's boring, it feels like a chore. It's the sustaining force and inertia of obligation. A lot of narcissists make you feel obligated. And it's not enjoyable. How many of us who've been in these relationships, there's no joy or peace or anything in it? So this particular graph, I love it because I think this is something that we need to look at. And we can gauge not only on friendships, but any relationship we have, including a marriage. If the person is not supporting you, there's no trust there. There's no genuinely rooting for each other. You're not equally a priority for them. Like, that wasn't a priority. Dude, I seen you in August of 2019. You text me in January, February of 2020. Seriously? Months later? I ain't hear hither nor thither, but just to let me know that you moving back here where I'm at. All right. So there's no you're not a priority in your life only if they need something, want something, or you're their source of supply. But you're only their source of supply because they can get something from you. And this is women too, guys. I'm sorry to say, this is not just men, ladies that's listening. Women are doing this too. Women out there, look at your relationships, look and see who's surrounding you, and use this quarantine pandemic, the pandemic time where we're quarantined, to take an evaluation, take an accounting, take an inventory of your life, and look around you and see who's around you. That's what I had to do. And by golly, it was really eye-opening. See, what happens is a lot of us are awakening. We are awakening to the truth of what this world really is. There are so many toxic individuals, wounded individuals walking around. It's not even funny. And you know, I'm a believer in the Bible. Yes, I am. For those who are not, continue to listen on, because it might be something here for you. There's a separating of the wheat and the chaff. We've all grown up together. And now who we truly really are is being revealed. Those entities or agents, I believe they're agents of Satan. I'm sorry. This is what I can't. No, I'm not apologizing. I believe those narcissists, these sociopaths, are agents of Lucifer. Now you can take it how you want. It's like we are the wheat. They are the chaff. We grew up together and now our identities have been revealed. That's what I believe, guys. That's my belief. That's my personal belief. Okay, so that's why you'll hear me refer to them as entities or agents sometimes, because I really feel that these people have come to try to stifle you. And a lot of us will realize we were surrounded by these individuals in our family, at work, in our social lives. If you take an account and use this time, I truly believe this is a time that we will never have again. that we're getting time to now separate ourselves from these situations, right? To show ourselves approved, that we are set apart, right? So guys, take an inventory of your life and the people who are around you. And if for 30 or 40 years, some of us have endured some of these relationships thinking, oh, well, this is just how they are, and have been abused, manipulated, dumped on, hoodwinked, bamboozled, it's time to say, not anymore. Enough is enough. So those situationships, I let them go. I didn't even bother to call this woman. She ended up going in her phone because she couldn't get the responses from me. I have really one-word responses. How you doing? I said, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Nothing. She gets in contact with my son and asks him, this is your mother's friend. I want to know how your mother's doing. You had already asked me that. But see, that's why when you have people in your household, it's good to educate them about narcissism and let them know what's going on. Had I not let him know what's going on, he may have responded back to her in a certain way. Who knows? And she might have been able to lie to him and tell him stories that I said this, did that, and it would not even be true. It would not even be true. These people will try to cause havoc in your home. So she could move back, but you need to find some other source of supply and somebody else to use and abuse, because it's not going to happen over here. And then wait, this last one, this woman I knew from when I was 17 years old. We worked together back in New York. Anyway, you guys know I had a health crisis, and this person was in I think they were in Texas at the time. And somehow or another, the guy that she was dating, he passed away. And she was in Texas, and she was heading from Texas, and she was going to stop by to see me here in the Southeast before she headed up back to New York. So she did, and she came with her stuff, but I had doctor's appointments, guys. So these doctor's appointments I had to be to. So I told this young woman, she stayed at my house. My sons were kind of not happy about it because they were like, look, she wasn't dressed appropriately. She had her breasts hanging out. These people are just, and I started seeing that, like, this is an awakening. These are all the people I was surrounded by. She wasn't appropriate. Even my sons was like, yo, what's up with her? Tell her to go get some clothes on. So this morning I told her the night before, look, I got an appointment. I got to be out here by 9:30, 10 o'clock. I think my appointment was at 11. I was not letting her stay in my home, but she was washing clothes. She was doing all of this other stuff. She was talking about she had to get ready. And I'm like, dude, it's 9:45. She's talking about she got to go take a shower. She got to do this. She got to do that. And I'm saying, these people have no respect. I told you I got a doctor's appointment. You need to be ready because you're going to have to go because you're not staying in my house while I'm gone. 10 o'clock came and went. You know what I did, y'all? And I ain't even ashamed to say it because I'm telling her the night before, you need to be ready. She was washing clothes. I went and got a plastic bag, took her clothes out of the washing machine or the dryer, wherever they was, put them in a bag, took the rest of the help her get her stuff. I told her, I said, I got to go. So you need to get your stuff and you need to go. See, these people, they don't respect your time. They don't respect that you got a doctor's appointment. They don't respect anything. It's about them. Put her stuff. She went to her car, was packing up her car, took the stuff out on the sidewalk, and said, look, I have to go. I told you I had an appointment. I told you all of this before. It's like, it doesn't even matter. I put the stuff out there. I got in my car and drove away. Sure did. I'm not having that foolishness. They don't respect anything about you. I did have several conversations with her after that. She came back down here from New York, and she probably has come back since then. But because a lot of these people delve into witchcraft and all type of foolishness, I had to leave her alone because I remember her years back telling me some stuff, and I was like, I'm not dealing with these people. They're very manipulative. They're very, some of these people, they just want to suck you dry of all of your essence. And because I know she delved in a different world than what I deal in, look, you can't serve two fathers, you can't serve two masters. My allegiance is to the Most High, and so I don't deal, anybody who deals with type of things that are of the dark side, I don't have no dealings with them. And I haven't spoken to her since. She's texted me, and I don't have no dealings with her. So this is what I'm saying. You have to take an account of who is in your life. This is for real. This could mean your life. And I don't really feel, guys, that if I had not done that and severed relationships with people who were even in my family, people who were supposedly girlfriends and even intimate relationships, I don't even know if I would be here, because I had so much forces against me and I had no clue what was going on. But I had to take some responsibility and say, hey, these people can only do, what you allow them to do. They have no real power over you. I don't even think I would be here if I had not severed those ties, because I had so many blood-sucking barnacles in my life from every aspect that it was the grace of God that I'm still here. I know my Father has my back. Don't you understand? And I hate to sound so preachy, because no, I was not innocent in all of this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the real deal. I was not innocent bystander in all of this, because some of these creatures I should have no business dealing with no how. And this is on the man aspect. These women, I really was naive to the situation. I had no clue. I thought these were my ace boon coons. I thought these were really my friends, and they were not. And then on the men aspect, and no offense to you men, because I know there's men out here who've had relationships with women, and these women are just wicked. Some of these women are, I'm a woman, some of these women are more wicked and diabolical than the men. Are you kidding me? Some of y'all men out here, y'all can attest to that. So guys, use this time while we're on quarantine to really take an account of who's in your life. Do they add anything to your life? Look at this chart. If you're not into the Bible or religion, at least just look at this chart, give you some guideline and baseline of what friends, what healthy relationships should be. And if it's not here, and it's here, then escort them out to the left, and you don't owe them any explanation. The girl was like, well, I'm getting worried about you. I said, why are you worried about me? I'm fine. I'm great. I am doing just great. What she wanted to hear was, oh, this and oh, that. They thrive off of that. But I gave her, I'm doing wonderful. I heard crickets weeks later. I still ain't heard nothing back. So we didn't have no argument. We didn't have no nothing. But when you respond to them in a certain way, there's nothing for them to feed off of. They know when you are severing ties with them, because you're really curt. You're not giving them no information. You're not giving them these long drawn out texts. You're not calling them on the phone. She wanted me to call her. No, not doing it. So guys, take an accounting of these situationships in your life. And if they're not good and they're not healthy, if they're abusive verbally, physically, emotionally, get rid of them. Especially if they're not in your household, get rid of them. Block their number. And you owe them no explanation. And they will get gone. They'll creep back up again. But they know that they now have to go find somebody else to find some new source of supply. But look for relationships that are like this: healthy, strong, supportive. And I fostered some relationships after that. And guys, it's okay to just be with yourself sometimes. A lot of us have never had time to ourselves. It's okay. We're not alone. There's billions of people on this earth. We're not by ourselves. But I'd rather be in solitude with the Most High and with the few people who really truly love me, than to be around a whole bunch of individuals who are ravenous wolves who don't mean me well. How about that? If I could count the people who truly support me on one hand, that is okay. But I'd rather count the people who are supportive and love me and truly have my best interests at heart than to have a bunch of fake friends on Facebook, have a bunch of fake friends on Instagram, and have a bunch of fake people in my telephone who really don't mean me well. Goodbye. Okay? I don't need that. So guys, take an account of the people in your life. See who really serves you well. And this is really a crucial time we're living in, guys, for my believers. I'm telling you, there's a separation going on. If you don't believe it, you better believe it now. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Please remember, if this edifies you, to like and subscribe and give me a thumbs up, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode of Can We Talk with Monique. Peace, fam.